Hey everybody, we're taking a look at questions 6 and 7, which both use this table. And it says, the table shows the total charges C for an overdue library book after D days. And here's the information. I made it a little bit bigger over here. And question 6 asks, if this pattern in the table continues, what is the total charge C for an overdue book after 12 days? So we have a couple options here. One option is to try to figure out what's the function. In other words, what do we have to do to D to get C? So doesn't it look like we have to multiply by 800ths to get C? And is 2 times 800ths, does that equal the amount here that we see here, the 16 cents? And is 3 times 800ths, does that equal the 24 cents? So you want to check that first to make sure that that applies. And if it does apply, if this is accurate, then we can go ahead and we can multiply this 800ths times 12 to get the answer for number 6. This would be the computation that you might try. Now, if you don't like that strategy, then another strategy could be to just keep your table going, just 5, 6, 7, 8 until you get all the way down to 12. And then when you get down to 12, you keep the pattern going as well here, because here we're jumping up. You might see a pattern. Just keep the pattern going until you get down here. Now, I personally think that you're more likely to make a mistake if you do it that way. I think this way is going to be a little bit easier. So if we like to take a look at question number 7, for what number of days D will the total charges for an overdue library book be $2.40? So we can take our equation, which we figured out is to take 800ths, multiply it by D by 800ths, and that's going to give you your total charges. Now, if we use this equation, let me write it again over here. It's 800ths times D equals C. Now we have C, so we're going to substitute that number in right here into our equation. So let's rewrite it again with the value written in. 800ths times D equals, in this case, $2.40. Now when we think about how do you solve an equation like this, you ask yourself, what's the opposite? First, find the variable. Here's the variable right here. Ask yourself, what's happening to the variable? It's being multiplied by 800ths. What's the opposite of multiply a variable by 800ths? The answer to that question is to divide by 800. So we're going to do that on both sides of the equation. And then we'll have on the left, it'll cancel out. If we simplify this over here, that all cancels out and we're left with D. So the only thing left you have to do to get number 7 right is to find the quotient. Do the algorithm of $2.40 divided by 8 cents. And don't forget, when you're doing the long division, don't forget about moving the decimal over. We have to multiply both of these by 100 to clear that decimal. So if we have to go over 2, that means we have to go over 2. And now the decimal is going to go right here. All right, so finish that up and then pick the answer that you see for number 7.